this unprecedented action should be seen in the broader context of the administration's threats and ongoing pressure.
Federal prosecutors in Washington, D.C. have opened a criminal investigation into Jerome Powell, the chairperson of the U.S. Federal Reserve. The inquiry is being conducted by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia and involves a review of Powell's public testimony, according to reports. Officials familiar with the investigation told NYT the criminal investigation was authorized in November 2025 by Jeanine Pirro, who was appointed to lead the office last year and is known to be a close ally of Donald Trump. Now, Jerome Powell has broken the silence on the matter, issuing a statement through Federal Reserve's official website. Powell stated that subpoenas were served on Friday and largely relate to testimony he gave before the Senate Banking Committee last June regarding the renovation of Fed's historic Washington headquarters, a project amounting to $2.5 billion.
It is not about my testimony last June or about the renovation of the Federal Reserve buildings. It is not about Congress's oversight role. The Fed, through testimony and other public disclosures, made every effort to keep Congress informed about the renovation project. Those are pretexts. The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president. This is about whether the Fed will be able to continue to set interest rates based on evidence and economic conditions, or whether instead monetary policy will be directed by political pressure or intimidation.
Trump's administration has opened the investigation over cost overruns at the U.S. Central Bank's headquarters complex in Washington. The cost of Fed's years-long renovation of two historic buildings has spiraled beyond the original estimates and rose earlier this year as a new pressure point for Trump against Powell. The renovation project underpinning the investigation began in 2022 and is scheduled for completion in 2027. Costs are now estimated to be roughly $700 million above initial projections. The work centers on the Mariner S. Eccles building and an adjoining structure on Constitution Avenue, both dating back to 1930s. The Fed has argued that neither building has undergone a comprehensive renovation since construction, necessitating extensive modernization. The investigation adds a significant legal dimension to Donald Trump's long-running confrontation with the Federal Reserve and its chair. Trump has repeatedly criticized Jerome Powell for resisting calls to sharply reduce interest rates and has publicly raised the prospects of dismissing him, despite having nominated Jerome Powell to the role in 2017. The president has consistently blamed his predecessors, Joe Biden, and interest rates for inflation and costs in the US. Critics have raised the concerns that Trump's pressure to oust the Fed chair would muddy the institution's authority to set interest rates independently from precedents. Under US laws, Fed officials can be removed only for cause, typically interpreted as malfeasance or serious dereliction of duty. Congress has historically sought to insulate the Federal Reserve from political pressure, granting it authority to set interest rates independently of the White House. Lawmakers instead charged the institution with pursuing low and stable inflation alongside a healthy labor market. Opening an investigation does not guarantee criminal charges. Prosecutors must still assemble sufficient evidence to persuade a federal grand jury to return an indictment and to sustain it in court. Though Jerome Powell's term as Fed chair expires in May 2026, though his appointment as a governor runs until January 2028, he has not publicly stated that whether he intends to remain at the central bank beyond this year.